Hello, this is Roland. Today I want to begin a series of programs about health, the spiritual side of health. And I'm going to call it the spiritual side of health, one man's Odyssey. Okay? One man's Odyssey of discovery. I have discovered a lot over the past basically 25 years, and I want to share some of it with you. Okay? And so I'm going to make a series of programs. So this is just a little introduction. There is a mind-body connection. We all know that. And we know that how our attitude determines, Zig Ziglar always used to say, your attitude determines your altitude. Okay? Well, your attitude also determines, has a lot to do with your health in a lot of ways. For example, we all know that anger is not good. We know that. And what does anger do? Well, if you're angry and you express it, then what? You mess up your relationships. You say or do the wrong thing. People get in accidents when they're angry. Okay? They get in accidents. They do dumb things. They do dysfunctional and self-harming things when they're angry. But now let's talk about something a little more subtle. Resentment. Resentment is the precursor of anger. Okay? Resentment can be very subtle, but it's very deadly. You could have a whole series of programs called the diseases of resentment. Resentment figures in on so many things because first of all, it's a denial, and secondly, it's hatred. And we creatures are creatures of love. We're created in the image and likeness of God. So we're supposed to be creatures of love. And you know that's true when you see little children. Little tiny children are full of love. Admittedly, it's a childish love. Okay, it's an emotional love. But it is a kind of love. Okay? And as we get older, then we are supposed to have more mature love, or agape love. Okay? A lot of people, when they begin to have health issues, they resent their own body, which can't help. See, that's hating yourself. It leads to a sense of wanting to get it over with, do something. Okay? A lot of times, if you were patient with your body and listen to it, what did they say? They always say, learn to listen to your body. Well, you can't listen to your body when you're resentful. But that's the first mistake a lot of us make. We become resentful toward our own condition, toward our own body. But now just focusing on resentment for a moment, look at resentment of your partner, of your children, of your work, of yourself. It's a kind of negativity that affects your body, your heart. It's got to affect your heart. See? It's got to. And then it leads to what? Fear. See, we fear what we hate. Because when you resent something, you're not coping with it in a human way. You're basically not coping with it. And so you begin to be anxious and fearful of facing it, because you know you won't face it properly. You know it'll upset you. You know you'll, see what I mean? Because of your resentment. Now what does fear do? What is fear? Doesn't it tighten? I bet it tightens your blood vessels. Anger, rage, fear. These things all have a negative effect on your heart, your circulatory system, and everything else. I'm just mentioning a couple of little things. So you can see then that your spiritual health is very, very important. It will have an effect on your physical health. And then, see, there are some things that come along that have nothing to do with spirituality. You know, if you bump your knee and get a sore knee, or you're playing baseball and you fall down and sprain your wrist, you see what I mean? then you need to go and have to the doctor and have a splint put on your wrist or whatever the case, or an X-ray or whatever. You see what I mean? But when issues develop in our life, especially when they're issues like diabetes. Oh, incidentally, what do you think being angry or full of rage? What do you think that has? How does that help diabetes? Doesn't. So when we have diabetes, blood pressure issues, heart issues, okay, cancer, then it is, see, undoubtedly your lack of spiritual altitude, your lack of awareness, your lack of love, your lack of patience, your mistakes, see, by resenting other people and so on, undoubtedly figured in somehow with the onslaught or the inception of what issues you have now. You know how one thing leads to another in a very sometimes complicated and not easy to figure out manner. But then when the illness does strike, then it is of utmost importance that you get your ducks in a row, that you amend whatever it was that you've been doing wrong, undoubtedly resenting people, being angry, being full of judgment. See, for example, that has to be changed. See, otherwise, the issue now will loom larger and larger, and it's very difficult to recover when your recovery is complicated by resentment, hostility, rage, anger. See, and what do they lead to? They also lead to unhappiness. See. So if it can be proactive, if ahead of time you can see that you're resenting your mom, or you're resenting your husband, or you're judging your husband, or you're angry at your wife, or you're impatient with your kids, if you can begin to see those ahead of time and let go of those, let go of that wrong attitude, really. You can let go of it. Learn to be more forgiving. Learn to overlook. Learn to be more patient. If you really can learn that, then you may head off at the pass some things that would develop. Maybe, see, there won't be a divorce. There won't be a divorce. There could be an accident that won't happen because you're not full of anger and rage and upset, and you can't see clearly because you're so emotional. Or an illness, or making a mistake when you have an illness by not doing what the wise thing. See, not finding the right doctor, for example. Because once again, if your vision is clouded by emotions, then you won't intuitively see maybe which would be the right doctor for you. You see what I mean? So you can proactively head a lot of things off at the pass. Okay? But then when something does strike, or has already struck, or you now have issues, physical issues, then by learning to stand back and not resent your issues, learning to stand back and observe and watch, learn to stand back and watch for your mistakes. It's easy to see other people's errors, not so easy to see your own. And if you can really and truly stand back, with the help of of the meditation that I have, which is very helpful, and you begin to see, oh, okay, I'm resenting my kids, I'm resenting my husband, see? And you'd be surprised how letting go of those negative emotions can also begin a good snowball. You know how negative things snowball? Well, you can begin a good snowballing effect, okay, by becoming more patient, less angry, more forgiving, wiser, more thoughtful. See what I mean? Good snowball effect. So, there's a little introduction, and I'm going to be making these videos from now on, so watch for them. And hope you have a chance to check them out.